iFlight's released a new version 2 of their FPV drone backpack, and it's got so much to offer. In fact, I think the biggest question about this backpack is whether it's actually too much. I'm Joshua Bardwell. You're going to learn something today. First thing you need to know about the V2 iFlight FPV drone backpack is that it is essentially starting from scratch compared to the V1 iFlight FPV drone backpack. I actually had the V1 backpack as my daily driver for a little while, and I'm very familiar with it. V2 appears to be starting over, well, almost completely from scratch with a completely different manufacturer. And I say that because I have been using the PGY Tech FPV drone backpack as my daily driver for the last few months, and I notice a lot of similarities between the PGY Tech and this backpack. I don't know for a fact that PGY Tech makes this bag, but it feels like a very, very different bag. If you are familiar with the V1 backpack and think the V2 is just a sort of cosmetic refresh, no. You need to give this bag a new look. And like I usually do, we will start at the outside of the bag and we'll sort of work our way around to the inside and then do sort of an overview. And the front surface of the bag here is where we'll start. This is traditionally where you would mount FPV drones if you didn't want to carry them inside the bag. This is a very roomy bag. And if you wanted to put FPV drones on the inside, you certainly could get away with it. In fact, it's one of the largest and roomiest bags that I've seen in recent times. But if you did want to mount the drones on the back, there are a lot of options. And I kind of like that. I like when bags give you the choice of either like a rigid strap like this, where you would just take the drone, put it underneath, and cinch it down, or a stretchy bungee like this if that's the way you prefer to go. Sometimes, especially if you have more than one drone, it can be easier just to stack them on the back of the bag and sort of strap them down with a bungee. Other times, it's a little bit more secure to have a rigid strap. But there's something wrong here. Let me get a drone. These straps, I'm not convinced, are long enough to go around a drone. Maybe they are. Oh, no, they are. They're shorter than I thought, but they're plenty long enough to go around a drone. No. Okay, maybe even two drones. Yeah, no, we're good to go there. That would be kind of silly. They look shorter than they were. No, that's fantastic. We'll get it on there. And if those straps are not positioned exactly like you like, I love this little mechanism here, whereby we can just turn this little thing to the side and slide it out and move it up or down as we see fit. This is, I've tugged on these and pulled on these to see if they're going to pull through, and they seem like they're reasonably secure, and they're easier to swap and move than some of the other sort of clippy-based mechanisms I've seen in the past. Like if I really pull on that, no, that's not coming through. That's going to tear out the stitching before it pulls through. As for these stretchy ones, there is a difference between the PGY Tech bag and this bag in that these little stretchy bungees are much shorter on this bag, and actually they're short on one side and long on the other. I'm having a little trouble figuring out what the intent of that is. The way that it seems to me like you would use it is, this is how I use my PGY Tech bag, is you just take like a drone like that, you cinch that down, pull that, and then it's held. You could certainly do that here as well. You're just going to have a longer one coming off. The other thing that they have, there you go, you got one. Well, you probably do more than one, but that's a nice way to securely hold a drone. It's not going to fall out. It's a little more secure than just passing a strap over the top of it. The other thing you can do is we do have these clips right here, and what I've done in the past is, like, I'll take, well, I don't know exactly if you could do it exactly the same way, but I would clip that like that, right? And then cinch these, and then it can be just like a bungee across the front, and you can easily slide something underneath if you didn't want to use these more rigid straps. You got a lot of options here, is my point. Got a lot of options here. As for how many drones would fit on here, it seems like there's pretty much perfectly room for one drone. If you were to do two, you could stack one on top of the other, but some backpacks will have like one drone on top, one drone on bottom. It seems like that's going to be a little harder to do with the way that this one's laid out. We also have here a pocket, which is kind of nice. You can go in that pocket for, it's basically the whole size here for, I don't know what you would put in there, maybe props, maybe I could put the rainfly in there. It has a nice fabric on the inside. It's not a soft fabric, but it feels kind of robust. in the lining. It doesn't feel like a thin or cheap lining, and it zips up there. If you have a bunch of drones on top of it, of course, you may not be able to get at that, and so it's nice that you have a lot of flexibility in exactly how you strap things down. I love it. Oh, wait a minute. What's this? This is new. Oh, I didn't even know that was there. Wow, I'm still discovering things about this bag. We got the zipper here, right? But we also have an additional bag here, or pouch here. This one, I'm going to put the rainfly there. That one is going to require you to flip that flap up, and it opens from the bottom, so it's not going to be as accessible while you're sort of out and about. If you've got this bag and you wanted to get in there, you would unzip that, you would flip that up. It would be kind of cumbersome, especially if you have all your drones strapped to it. I think the purpose of that is actually that you can unzip that, you can fold that up, and you can lay the bag down flat with the drones sort of sticking out to the front, and you have access to all your things when you lay the bag down. And the reason you're going to have to lay the bag down flat is this is a rear opening backpack. So I've talked about this in some of my other backpack reviews. Some backpacks, they lay down on the straps, on the shoulder straps, and they open up from the front. Some backpacks, they lay down on their front and they open up from the back. The advantage of the back opening is that your shoulder straps don't get down in the dirt. This part of the bag that's going to be up against you and up against your clothes doesn't end up laying in the dirt, the asphalt, the whatever stuff that you around the area where you're flying. This stays relatively clean. But the disadvantage is that, especially if you have drones mounted to the outside, if you lay this down on top of the drones, it can just want to fall over and make the drones hard to get at. This panel is the answer to that you would, where's the zippers? That you would unzip this panel. Before you set the bag down, you would fold it out, you would lay it down, and now it's laying on whatever's in that pocket, but maybe that's okay. And your shoulder straps are staying clean. We'll open the bag up in just a minute and look at the inside, but we're going to continue going around the outside before we do that. Here on the side, we have a big, deep pocket. You've seen this on many other backpacks. The biggest complaint I have about these is when they're too shallow and stuff can fall out of them accidentally. The Rotor Riot bag suffers from this. These are very deep. They have a stretchy strap at the top to sort of help hold them closed and help keep stuff on the inside. And we also have this retractable strap as well. So if you had something like a tripod sticking out the top, or maybe a small folding chair, this strap could go around it. It hooks on here. It can unhook if you want to, although I don't know why you ever would. We've got a carry handle here for the side in case you want to carry it briefcase style. I do like that. Here, if we open up this side pouch, we've got room on the inside with some tabs for our tools or cables or whatever else. We've got two deep pockets here. We've got a see-through mesh pocket here and a zipper pocket here. And by the way, the similarities to the PGY Tech backpack, this is like almost identical to the PGY Tech backpack. If PGY Tech doesn't manufacture this bag, then the same company manufactures this bag as manufactures the PGY Tech bag. My chair's falling down a smidge. Like, it just seems obvious that that's must be the case. Coming around to the other side, we have another deep pocket. It's a little deeper than the other one. No, it's pretty much the same. We've got another strap here, and this side pocket is designed slightly differently. No, it isn't. Is it identical? It is. It's the same. On the PGY Tech bag, the left side and the right side are a little bit different. Here, the layout appears to be identical. Well, it's neither here nor there. I really like the bags that have this kind of internal organization on the side pockets. I like the ability to go into the side pocket and quickly get something out and have it all be nicely organized and accessible, and then have the stuff that's buried deeper in the bag maybe be a little bit more sub-organized into individual pouches and stuff. But I just like to have USB cables, SD cards, SD card readers, maybe like a little battery checker, and just have all that stuff quickly accessible here for times that I'm going to need that stuff, but I haven't got my whole bag splayed out and all my stuff. I haven't like settled in a location and opened up my whole bag. Other types of bags will have side pouches, but maybe they just have one pocket and stuff isn't very organized and it's just laying around in there, and that's not my preference. On the bottom of the bag, we have these straps. That is presumably for a big item like a tripod or maybe a folding chair of some kind. They're on the bottom. They're not going to do any harm if you're not using them, so I guess I'm not mad that they're there. The bottom of the bag is kind of a heavy rubberized fabric that is hopefully going to hold up. Well, I guess we can't say for sure. Like we've seen on the Rotor Riot bag, that the bottom of the bag starts to flake off for a little bit of use. Obviously, this one I haven't been using as a daily driver, so I can't speak to that, but it feels relatively tough. And on the top of the bag, we also have straps. Like, we just got straps all over this thing. Man, if you want to like look like a backpacker, strapping everything and the kitchen sink to the outside, you certainly can. We've got these straps, and we've got this pouch here. No, it doesn't open into a separate like compartment. It actually opens to the inside of the bag. And that means that stuff that you have stored here at the top of the bag, you can just reach in and take out, like maybe your controllers or your goggles, and get easy access to them without having to take the whole backpack apart. We've also got this little zipper pouch here with some stretchy fabric for quick access to small items. And I shouldn't forget that there is a Velcro patch here for you to put patches on. It comes with this one, which says something in Chinese, I guess, and this one which says just send it, and that's probably the one I would use, although if you have your own patches, you can put whatever you want there. On the back of the bag, we have a robust top handle. Big fan of that. The shoulder straps are wide and well padded. The shoulder straps have two of these zipper pockets. The idea here is that they're nominally for your phone, although like if you were to put a modern phone in there, it's gonna like stretch it out. Like it will zip around it. This is a Galaxy S24. It will zip around it, but it's gonna stretch it out. But nevertheless, it could live there. Or anything else that you want quick access to while you have the backpack on, you just zip it down and take it out without having to take the backpack off. The PG Tech bag has only one of these. This one has two, and I guess not. Why not? You have two shoulder straps. You may as well have two pockets. I honestly don't use this for much. Like, I kind of tend to forget it exists. Like anything that I would want quick access to, like my phone, I'm going to want to have in my pocket so that when I put the backpack down, I still have it with me. So I would need to be something that you're going to want to live with the backpack, but have access to without taking the backpack off your bag. And I'm just not sure what fits into that category, although presumably something does. The backpack does have a chest strap, and it uses a mechanism here where it's going to clip onto this tubing, and we can just like pull it off the tubing with just a little, it will pull off the tubing. I'm sure it will. I don't want to have to put it back on again. That sounds like it would annoy the crap out of me, so maybe I'm not going to do that. And it will slide up and down and just stay in place via friction. I find shoulder straps, like, occasionally when I'm walking like through an airport with a big heavy backpack, I want the shoulder strap, but usually I'm not walking far enough with my bag. I'm like walking from the car to the flight line. I'm not walking far enough that really matters. I do always keep the shoulder strap on, or the chest strap on, just in case I would want it. The bag does come with a waist strap, and I like that it is a properly padded waist strap. A lot of bags just come with a piece of like nylon webbing. It's maybe 2 inches or 2.5 inches thick, but it's just not going to provide a lot of support for the weight. And if you've ever used like a real backpack, you know that waist strap really needs to cinch down on your waist, cinch down on your hips, and take the weight of the bag. That's the point of it. And it just doesn't feel like those nylon webbing straps that a lot of packs come with actually accomplish that. I do like that it is removable. Like most of the time, I don't want a waist strap. Most of the time it's in the way. But occasionally, if I knew I was going to hike for a long time with a heavy bag, I would want a waist strap. This will just push this clip up and slide it off, and we can put that somewhere and save it for when we really want it. Other bags do not have a removable waist strap, and then I end up cutting it off, and then it's just no good for anything. This is sort of the right combination of if you want it, it's there, and if you don't want it, you can get it out of the way. I'm going to get it out of the way. Oh, look, even got a little pocket there. That's cute. I don't know what I would put in there. It feels like stuff would fall out, but it's up to you. Oh, wait. Before we leave the back, I will point out that it doesn't have one of those like straps that go across the back so you can set it down on top of your luggage like some of the bags have. I don't know how much I care about that. Bags of this size tend to get up to a weight where I'm not sure that's really the ideal thing to do anyway. But if you care about that function, it is. I tell a lie. It is there. There's no strap. There is. They just pass through here. Oh, great. So it does have the pass-through. Fancy. Well, that's not how I would have imagined that to be done, but it will work. Oh, how are we going to... This is enormous. This thing is enormous. So, here we go. Let's just turn it around here. Let's not hit the microphone. Here on the back panel, we have some mesh see-through pouches. They're not zipper top. And I kind of question how useful they're going to be. Like, the stuff will go in there, right? But it's kind of loose, and I would worry about stuff like kind of falling out and not being held by the elastic on the top. That's probably me overthinking things, but it does feel like these might be a little more useful if they were zipper top, so that you were sure things were going to stay where you left them. We do have a laptop and tablet pouch. Here's the laptop and then the tablet pouch. They are padded. And they do not go all the way to the bottom of the bag. So you've got a little bit of padding here at the bottom so that when you set the backpack down, you're not like slamming your laptop on the ground. This is a very deep pocket, but as far as the width goes, like, I'm not sure how wide is it really. Like the actual width from seam to seam is about 11 inches. And then when you had a laptop sort of taking up space, it's not the largest one I've ever seen. Certainly will hold a 15-inch, maybe a 16-inch laptop. We got that zipper top or Velcro top there to help hold everything in when you flop it open. As far as the inside of the bag goes, here's where I think things get a little bit controversial. Like, there's so much space in here, but then the way that they've chosen to lay it out is a little bit weird to me. I gotta flop this top the other direction. Hold on. So what we've got is a top section, which does have one of these flat panel dividers so that you can have two compartments, basically a front and a back compartment, so that when you open the top of the bag and reach in, you can get stuff out of both sides. And that's cool in theory, but in practice, I find that it doesn't usually work with the way that I like to lay out the bag. And I actually, with my PGY Tech bag, bought a second shelf divider so that I could just have two shelves instead of this top and bottom mechanism. The advantage of this top and bottom mechanism is, for example, we can look at that. We can put a 5-inch drone in here with props off, and we could just fit a drone in here. We could take that. Now, wait, I decided I want to put it on this side. Well, it's not quite as good because of the taper of the bag, so we would need to maybe put our controller, our goggles in there. And I just find that they tend to kind of sort of flop around and not be very well. It just doesn't seem like it's the best use of space. It feels like it wastes a lot of space. But if you want to put your drone inside your bag, this will absolutely do it. Depends exactly, of course. If your antenna's sticking out the top or something, maybe it wouldn't be as good. But this particular drone fits no problem. We could get the drone in there. We could easily, there's a ton of room back here. I don't know if you can see. We could easily get like a small controller like a GX12, a Zorro, a Tango 2. Probably not a giant controller like a TX16S. We get a small controller back here and a set of goggles and maybe a battery for the goggles and stuff. And we could basically have everything we need to open the top of the bag, pull stuff out, and fly without even opening the bag. That's pretty cool. And if you want that, this is one of the bags that does it the best because of its sheer size. A lot of smaller bags, even if they're just a little bit smaller, just don't have quite as much room to fit a whole drone, a 5-inch drone, in, even though in theory they can, and they show marketing photos with it set that way. When you try to do it, it kind of doesn't work out that well. Then we have this shelf here, which divides the top from the bottom of the bag. So if I just pull this out, you can see this is also an adjustable shelf, right? There's the whole sort of upper compartment. And of course, if you wanted to, you could just not use this and you could have this whole upper compartment for whatever you want. It's a ton of room. The lower compartment of the bag is divided with these Velcro dividers. And you have some flexibility here. Like you've got these, you can see it goes here, 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 right? So we have this large section here, and we've got these smaller dividers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, and they've got it laid out in just kind of a basic grid, but you could do whatever you want. What's weird about this, though, is that they've taken this whole section and they have put it into this, like, bathtub, and I can't decide if this is brilliant or stupid. Like, I suppose you could make an argument that you might want to just pull this out and carry it somewhere like a tray, but then you've got like the whole contents of your backpack more or less, and you could, I don't know if I feel great about that. Then why do I even bring my backpack at that point, right? Why would I not just pick up my backpack and move it? I don't know exactly. Maybe you'd want to, maybe you wouldn't, but it really just feels like we are wasting a lot of space. Like if I put this in, like, how much sort of space am I wasting? Is it that much? It feels, I don't know. Maybe it's not that much. It feels inefficient. Like if you look at this space here, that looks a lot bigger than this. So I kind of like, why did you do that? Are we getting more rigidity? Like to have structure? I just don't know. Now this bag is one of the deeper bags that I've seen. So one of the tests I always want to do is, can I put my goggles in the long way? And the answer is absolutely not. Like, we're going to have a little bit more space once this is actually in the bag, but you can't put the goggles in the deep way. It just doesn't seem like it's going to work. The goggles are going to have to go in either laying down like this or sideways. And now, the HC0 goggles are one of the larger goggles that you would try to do this with. You might get close with a smaller set of goggles, but it's, there are a few bags, because the bags have to fit carry-on requirements, I suppose is the limitation. There are a few bags where you can get your goggles in the long way like that. So, like, what would I do? Would I do that? Yeah, that's going to be fine. Oh, yeah, that's going to be just fine. The other thing, like, as I look at this, it just doesn't feel very inspired. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of thought and flexibility put into this. It's just like, here's your dividers, go, have fun. And as I look at this, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of space. And the reason for that is that there's a whole top half of the bag, which has a whole lot more space. But that space isn't like organized with dividers. I think one of the things that people are going to love or hate about this bag is, like, if you want a bag where you have dividers over the entire space and you can divide it all up how you want, you might go with something like the Rotor-Riot bag, which gives you that flexibility. This bag, you're going to have this amount of space to play with the dividers, and then you're going to have the whole top of the bag, which has like one shelf dividing it, and you could like have your stuff sort of rattling around in there, but it's not going to be sort of protected or constrained in the way that you would with this padding. And I'm not sure that would work out really well for me. I don't know. It's a little weird. I asked iFlight what the purpose was for that sort of bathtub container with all the dividers in it. And I'm not exactly sure my question was understood the way that I intended it to be asked. But as far as I could tell, their logic is that sometimes you might want to use this just as a generic backpack. And what that lets you do is take out the dividers and leave them intact, leave them configured as you have them, maybe even leave your FPV stuff in there. You take the dividers out, you take the little shelves out, and now you just have a great big backpack that you can toss your stuff into. I guess that makes sense, and it does give you the option to use this bag as a non-FPV backpack, which is something that with other backpacks, you could rip all the dividers out, but then you would just have to redo it all. And it's kind of, once you've got the dividers perfectly how you want them, and you've got all your stuff in there, you kind of don't want to take it out and redo it. At least that's how I feel about it. So I guess that's cool, but it feels like you're giving up a lot in terms of organization and capability and just use of space in order to get it. I'm not sure that it's worth it. The other thing that I have to say about the iFlight bag is that it's large. I have no doubt that it technically passes the carry-on requirements and will go into an overhead bin of an airplane, but it's on the bigger side. And so, like, I've had airplanes, I fly out of Knoxville, and we always get the little smaller jets with the smaller overheads, and a lot of times I end up stuffing my FPV bag under the seat in front of me. And it sticks out a little bit, and technically it shouldn't be there, but I've never had it be a problem. I feel like with a bag this size, that would be much harder to do. It's just that enough bigger that especially if it's full of stuff, it would be a little hard to maneuver in there. And for all the capability that it shows on the outside looks extremely well, flexible, extremely well engineered. The pockets, love it. The top pocket, love it. As soon as you get on the inside of the bag, I feel like for me, that's where the bag kind of lets itself down. The decision to divide it into the top and bottom half with the bathtub, I think really limits your ability to organize it in a way that's going to make maximum use of the space, lets you get your gear organized exactly how you want it. And unlike the PGY Tech bag, where when I didn't like how it was organized, I admittedly paid extra, which is okay. So like you may like, well, if I have to pay extra to make the bag how I want, then how good is the bag really? But PGY Tech makes camera bags. They make all kinds of bags, so you can order spare dividers. You can order extra dividers. I just ordered to spend another 25, 30 bucks on a couple extra dividers, and now I have the PGY Tech bag exactly how I want it. Whereas this one, like, where are you going to get extra dividers? How are you going to make it, like, customize it and make it yours? You're kind of going to get it the way that it comes, or not at all. So maybe this is the perfect bag for you. If it is, there is a link in the video description below to where you can pick it up. It is an affiliate link. That means if you click that link and make a purchase, then I get a small commission. It means a lot when you use those links. It's one of the ways that I support the channel. On the other hand, I've got the Lumineer bag, I've got the PGY Tech bag, I've got a whole bunch of other backpacks that I'm in the process of reviewing, and these videos are all going to go into a playlist, and I would highly suggest that you check out the other bags in this group of reviews before you make your final buying decision. They've all got different pros and cons, and unless you just are dead set that this is the right one for you, you should definitely check those out. I'll put a card on screen with a link to that playlist with all the other bags, as well as an overview video, just sort of wrapping up the high points if you don't want to go through the detailed review of each of the bags. I'll see you there.